Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to the Round 7 player ratings. We took on Port Adelaide last night at Kazali Stadium in Cairns, and we came away with a 1-point loss in an absolute thriller, one of the games of the season. No, not really. Without further ado, let's get straight into player ratings. It's going to be interesting to see who ranks well and who ranks shit. Let's go from the top. Paddy Ryder came in after 2 weeks off. Serviceable, 27 hitouts. Kicked 2 points though, which would have been nice if at least one of them was a goal. But he wasn't the only one to miss shots. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Campbell, pretty serviceable. Did kind of few nice things around the ground. His hands were a bit, they were a bit slippery, but that's kind of the game that it was, and not a great game for someone like him to play his first game in. And especially a ruckman trying to get the ball off the deck. Not ideal conditions. I thought he battled hard without being incredible. Did what he needed to do, 10 hitouts, supported Paddy Ryder. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Josh Battle, 17 disposals. Probably not at his amazing standards from the week before, but battled hard, no pun intended. And I thought, he was decent support in the back line and was actually pretty reasonable with the ball in hand. Didn't turn it over too many times, unlike a few players. I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. Dan Butler, 8 disposals, didn't trouble the scoreboard. He had 6 tackles, and a lot of people say that he is a pressure forward, but he's also a forward, and forwards need to kick goals. In a game like yesterday, he could have been the difference, just kicking 1 goal, and he wasn't. I don't think he got close to kicking a goal. He got pinned for holding the ball a few times. Not a great game. I could go low, but I'll give him a 5 because he laid 6 tackles, but it could have been a 4. I'm really sick of not seeing any score impact from Dan Butler. I know that he's there for his pressure, but I want to see goals too, man. I want to see goals, and they can't just be on Jack Higgins and Max King every week. Brad Crouch, 24 disposals, but 24 uneventful disposals, I would say. It's probably his quietest game of the year and least impactful game of the year. 5 tackles, but just didn't really notice him too much, and I feel like it was, the conditions could play a part there, but I just thought, he wasn't a damaging midfielder on the day, and we really needed him to stand up in the trenches, but I think, he just kind of got a lot of the ball around the ground and didn't really do too much with it, so because of that, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Gresham, 22 disposals and 3 points. Went off the ground with a hip problem, but came back on. I thought he battled hard and he tried to keep that mojo going in the middle of the ground. Wasn't his best game again for the year, but he battled hard, and I thought he always tried to bring that X factor and excitement and speed into the game, which is what we were lacking so desperately for a lot of the game, particularly in the second half. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Jack Higgins, I'll give him a 7. Jack Higgins, 1 goal, 3, 9 disposals. Just again, a game where our forwards really let us down, and could have been the difference. Again, he wasn't the only one to miss shots. He got the shots at least, which is a great sign, but it wasn't his best game. 1 tackle, 9 disposals, 1 goal, 3. Probably give him a 5 out of 10 for that. Brad Hill, I thought he was pretty good actually. 20 disposals, and I thought, particularly in that first half, he took the game on. His kicking was really clean, and he set us up a lot through the middle, and he had composure on the ball, which is what a lot of our players lacked last night. So because of that, I'm giving Brad Hill a 7 out of 10. Dougal Howard, 13 disposals, but geez, that last quarter, I don't think he'll ever want to rewatch what he was doing in that last quarter. There was some really silly decisions. Having him kick out from the points and not someone else taking it, Jimmy Webster or someone else. It was just Adelaide last year all over again at the same ground and just bombing it to Pax and the ball just coming back in. Some of his punches just didn't go to the right spots. He'd spoil it, but he'd go into the danger zone. And that passage where he needed to just kick the ball long or hit a target short, and he tried to take on the guy on the mark, and then it ended up being smothered and thrown in for a boundary throw-in. Just a little brain fade there. So because of that, Dougal Howard, I'm giving him a low 4 out of 10. Not his greatest game for the club. Max King, 2 goals, 2, 9 disposals. A lot of people blame Maxi for the result, but I don't. I think it was a collective performance that cost us across the ground. But he tried to bring us back into it late. He kicked a goal early and then had another shot, and that could have really sealed it for us, but it didn't. But we had time to win it, and we had shots after that to win it, and it wasn't just Maxi. But again, a tough day for him at the office. But he still kicked 2 goals, which is a good sign for Max in a down game. But overall, limited impact and and he could have kicked 4 really. So because of that, I'm giving him a 5 out of 10. Ben Long, I was really impressed with 16 disposals. I thought he had really good composure in the back half, and he hit targets and he took players on. I don't think he got caught once, and his tackles were fair and hard. So because of that, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I was really impressed with Ben Long. D-Mac, same. 1 goal, 19 disposals, ran all day, was clean with the footy, didn't stop. It's funny that our lesser likes were the ones that were probably the cleanest and more composed in those sort of conditions. Maybe it suited them. D-Mac, 7 out of 10 as well. Tim Membry, I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. Very quiet game. No impact on the scoreboard. Just didn't really notice him across the ground very much. Ben Patton, 18 disposals. Pretty solid in the back line. He hacked it out a lot. Not a lot of composure when he got the footy, but it just felt like a game plan type thing that we needed to play. We wanted to play territory football instead of our usual short kick and running style. Maybe the conditions played a part in that, but it didn't really suit us. But I don't think he did anything to really cost us the game. I thought he was pretty solid as always, and he laid, I think, the second most tackles for a Saint, 7. So, solid game from Paddo, and I thought he was quite physical and pretty decent. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10 as well. Seb Ross, probably close to best on ground for me. 31 disposals, really clean with the footy again, and ran all day, 4 tackles, 4 marks. Was close to our best midfielder with Jack Steele. I'm giving him a 9 out of 10. Sinclair, quiet, 23 disposals, but he's been up all year, and that sometimes happens. You have a down game, and yesterday wasn't the most exciting game, and definitely wasn't the right conditions for someone like Sinclair to just dominate and use his kicking and running, but that's no excuse. So I think he was just having a down game, and I don't think we put him in the middle as often as we did in previous weeks, which was a bit odd. So because of that, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Steele, 27, 8 tackles. He did miss a couple of kicks though, and he wasn't the only one. The conditions were shit, but there were a few easy kicks down the line that he usually hits, and he didn't. I'm going to give him a 8 out of 10 because, I just thought his composure, he got a lot of the ball, but when he used it, it wasn't his normal clean, sort of disposal. I thought Ross was probably a bit cleaner in that department. That's why I'll give him a 9, and I'll give Steele an 8. Wanganee Malira, the best part of the game was seeing him and his disposal and his use by foot. It was just elite, and he was the only player in the last quarter that could really hit a target that was more than 20 metres away. And he was hitting targets in the middle of the ground that were risky. He had composure. He takes players on now. He's got the good shimmy going on. And he'd be close to a Rising Star nomination the way he's going. So really impressed with him. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. It was a really good performance from Nasiah. Webster, solid without being amazing. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 as well. Wilkie, one of his quieter games, 13 disposals. Probably not his cleanest game in the back half, but again, really hard to tell whether it was his form or the conditions or both. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Windhager started like a house on fire, so he was on his way to a good 7 or 8 rating, but he dropped off in the second half, only had a few possessions after halftime, I think, and, I'd give him a 7, but I think, the second half is what he needs to improve on in his tank, so he might well go back to Sandy next week when Zachy Jones comes back and JB. But his first half was exceptional. I thought him and Nasiah in the first half were some of our better players, which says a lot and is really good signs moving forward as our first-year players. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. And Mason Wood, lastly, 23 disposals, 16 contested. I think that was the most on the ground. He worked really hard with D-Mac on that wing, and he offered some really good chop-outs, down the line with his marking abilities, and he had some pretty clean hands for, everyone else slipping. It was like the ball was soap, but he could actually hold the ball, kick it well, and mark it well. So really solid game from Mason Wood. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. So there you go, Saners. Those are my player ratings after a really disappointing result. So excited for the game, watching it with the fam, but some Saners messaged me having a bit of a bad feeling about this game. Actually, I'll give Brett Ratton a rating. I thought Hinkley kind of outcoached him. I'll give Rats probably a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I thought there was probably some decisions that needed to be made after half time, and Port Adelaide came out with a different game plan, and we kind of just tried to play the same bomb style, and I think it was a lot to do with the conditions, but it would have been nice to see us try and just play our normal style again, and I feel like that could have gotten a different result, but it is what it is. Comment your thoughts, Sanders. Let me know your player ratings. Who was, your best on ground? Who was, someone that could have played a bit better? Just comment. Let's get the discussion going. Like the video. If you're watching this and you're saying you enjoy the content that I deliver on a daily basis, please subscribe. And I'll be back during the week for my big preview for the Melbourne game, Mother's Day game next Sunday. Hopefully with a big AFL YouTuber who happens to be a D. And Saints TV Weekly tomorrow, as well as the podcast on Tuesday night with Marshy and Joycey. Marshy went to the game yesterday, so it'd be great to see his opinion on it from the ground itself. So stay tuned. A lot of content coming out. I always appreciate all of your comments, all of your feedback, and of course all of your support. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, Sainers. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'll see you during the week for more Saints content. Until then, guys, take care and go you mighty Sainers.